Hello viewer, hope the day is treating you right. It is time to continue with Arem's journey. Last time the Ashan, which is the governing council of the island, decided that Arem needs to become a sentry and start training immediately. His father was very much against the decision, but ultimately he is a man of the system, so he had no choice but to comply. And so, here we are. No way to go but forward. I'm saying it right now, there is a bit of blood and gore incoming in this following segment, so consider this your trigger warning. And with that, we continue. We approached a group of 3 young men. They were sentries, journeyman sentries. Older than myself, it seemed. Well, of course, you have advanced early. They sat around what seemed like a fire pit, not presently lit. The first, a tall boy with short hair, stood and bowed to address father. Hello, sir. We were told to expect a 4th. This is Arem. He was scheduled to advance at the end of this season. However, it was decided he would begin training as a sentry immediately. Oh, I see. Hello. I think maybe we've met before. Maybe. My name is Kian. The second boy stood and bowed similarly to the first. The third, appearing as the oldest, remained seated. Instead, he nodded in my direction. My name is Tala. It's a blessing to meet you. I look forward to serving with you, Arem. Likewise. This is Rayash, by the way. Hey. The 3 began to converse quietly, and I turned back to look at father. He stood very still, his gaze distant. I followed his eyes and properly considered my surroundings for the first time. It was there, perhaps 200 feet ahead of me. The great stone doorway. They were swung wide, far too heavy to move. Plainly carved with little detail. The entrance to the well. Something about it. The color and the materials of the door. It felt wrong. It stood out from its surroundings, fundamentally. I felt the doorway watching me. I felt it begin to creep into me. From every corner of my gaze. So, this was that place. That place we were never supposed to enter. Sometimes it was easy to forget that the well was there at all. It seldom came up, even in stories, and less so in daily conversation. But even so, we all knew. I'm here all the same, I suppose. Arem, I must take my leave. I understand. I am prepared. You have given me everything I need. Arem, please listen to what they have to teach you. We'll talk more about this tonight. At this, father wrapped his arms around me. He embraced me for a long moment. I was startled more than anything else. I couldn't recall the last time he had hugged me. But before long, he was gone. Giving me one last nod, he disappeared beyond the mouth of the entrance tunnel. The 3 returned to their seats around the empty fire pit. Tala, the middle in both height and stature of the 2 other sentries, waved me over. I took a seat by them. Well, I suppose we should go over the shifts. Right. I'm sure you know some of this already, Arem. Not really. I've heard about it from some of the journeymen, but I think Father really wanted me to become a temple guard. He wouldn't tell me much about the sentries. Really? Well, no matter. I'll start from the top. Our job is, essentially, to watch the well at every hour of every day. But we need to sleep too, of course. So we, the sentries, watch the well in shifts. Right. The three of us... oh, well, 4 now. We watch the well from mid-afternoon to about past sunset. So it's kinda like a 4-hour shift, depending on how long the days are. Just watch? Yeah. It's the majority of what we do. Just sit and watch. But what about the ancestors? Honestly, they don't attack very often. Sometimes we go a year without seeing a single one. And even then, they show up half dead already. I see. But what if they do attack? Well, you're the youngest, so... you stay behind and out of harm's way. Until you get a feel for how to handle them, that is. I couldn't do that. I would be there at the front, with you all. Don't worry, Arem. We won't think you're cowardly or anything. That's how it works when we train new sentries. Yeah. Don't sweat it. We all went through something similar. Alright then. I can do that. There is something else you should know. It's a part of your duty as a sentry. Oh? The well. There is a reason we are forbidden from entering. If you go into the well, I remember, I'll die. Without a doubt. Right. It's true. If, for any reason, one of us fell down there by mistake, we are not permitted to attempt any sort of rescue. That person is considered dead. They are dead. What? Why? That's just the way it is. Come now. We are wound bearers. Remember what they taught us, right? We have a fire inside ourselves. Our lives are important, and we don't lose them. That won't ever happen. Don't be afraid. Okay, yeah. I get it. You don't need to worry about me. I won't get in the way. Of course not. We're glad to have you, Arem. The three of us were getting pretty bored with each other, that much is for sure. Yeah, you can't imagine having to stare at Rayash's face for hours on end each day. Yeah. Wait, what? Screw you. Like you're such a ray of light. Hearing you tell the same 3 goddamn stories over and over again. At least I have something interesting to talk about. Rayash grew red in the face and he began shouting, the banter devolving quickly. I looked at Tala, who was laughing at the childish display. I couldn't help but laugh either. So, this is how I would spend my days from now on. Here, with these 3, under the evening sun. It was an odd feeling, all at once. The feeling of being where I had always dreamed of being. Is this really it? Thus the day began to slip by. I don't recall how long it had been, but eventually we were sitting in a comfortable silence. True to their word, we simply rested and watched. At one point, the 3 attempted to give me tips on swordplay, but found themselves too lazy to demonstrate physically. Thus the conversation came and went as the hours slid past. The 4 of us sat around the fire, which had been lit now in the growing shadow of the evening. I was strangely lethargic. I had expected to be exhausted, but instead I was relaxed. Something dawned on me just then. Glancing quickly at the looming doorway of the well, I turned to Tala with a question. Hey, the doorway. Can we not just close it? It looks heavy, but with a dozen wound bearers, maybe... Or, oh, we could make some sort of border with archimancy and seal it up. I wondered the same on my first day. The Ashan insist we keep it open, actually. I suppose in the past they tried closing it. Apparently it doesn't deter the ancestors even a little. They just gather behind the door. All at once dozens of them pushed their way through and very nearly made it to the settlement. We lost a lot of wound bearers doing it that way. So if we keep it open, they come one at a time and we can pick them off easier. As far as we can tell, they don't coordinate their efforts at all. I see. That's smart. Hey, Arem. Yeah? I've got a question as well. Why were you assigned so early? Yeah, I was wondering the same. Seems odd they picked just you to advance early, no? I'm not really sure why. It's not unheard of. Advancing early, I mean. At least when it comes to wound bearing. The Ashan wanted to see me all of a sudden. And they decided, well, that I would become a sentry and start immediately. I guess they saw some serious potential or something. Now I'm expecting a lot with a story like that. I'll try not to disappoint. Hey, how long have you all known each other? Too long. Shut up. But he's right. Kian and I have been friends for a long time. Yeah, we met in General Ed. I'm sure you have a few friends like that too. It's hard not to find common ground with somebody you're forced to see every day, right? Yeah, I know what you mean. I suppose I'm the odd one out in this group. I met Kian and Riyash about a year ago when I was assigned to this shift. Don't sell yourself short, Tala. You're a lot more interesting than Kian. What the hell? I know it doesn't seem like it, but I think we all get along pretty well. I guess. It's nice to have a new face. I'm sure you'll fit right in. Thanks, Kian. I appreciate it, really. I'm still... I'm just happy to finally be here, even if I'm not a journeyman yet. Thank you for your kindness so far. Of course. The conversation dwindled once more, and the four of us continued to pass the time resting. I tried to stay vigilant and keep myself seated in such a way that I could quickly get up and have my weapon in hand. But before long, I was leaning against the wall comfortably. I nearly grew drowsy when laughter pulled me from my daze. I came to and listened in. Kian and Riyash were sitting a few feet away, engaged in what seemed like a scandalous conversation. There's no way, I don't believe you. Kian's voice was emphatic. Well, it's true, Riyash replied confidently, leaning back and putting a hand behind his head. I don't need you to believe me, because it happened. Bullshit. You kissed Nitya. Kian sounded incredulous. Riyash gave a sultry smile. More than that, young Kian. We've been meeting after my shifts for a few weeks. This isn't fair, groaned Kian, falling backward in defeat. How is it that you can land a beautiful girl and I can't? You've got the personality of a clay ball. What can I say? Women are simply drawn to me, Rayash said, his ego blinding. Rayash suddenly turned, shooting me a dirty grin. By the way, Arem, you've got a girl, right? The question caught me completely and utterly off guard. My mind immediately went to Sachita. Her face flashed through my head as I thought about the question. I imagined her lips. No, not yet, I said, frantically thinking of a way to change the subject. Kian chimed in. No? Any girl you've got your eye on? Maybe, I'm not sure, I replied, avoiding their gaze. I couldn't possibly tell them how I'd had my eye on one girl for as long as I could remember. Never mind that the girl was Sachita of all people. Fortunately, Tala broke in and saved me with a sharp remark. I'm sure he's asking because he's worried he has competition. I can't imagine Nitya is too committed to that relationship, knowing Rayash. At this, Kian erupted into laughter. I followed suit, happy to distract from my non-answer. We all laughed, Rayash too. We laughed. And we laughed. And then, Kian wasn't laughing. Long black metal fingers slowly clasped around his face and neck. Pressing into his skin with razor-sharp ends, small streaks of blood began to seep between its long fingers. There was no sound for a moment. I simply watched, unable to understand what was happening. In a single moment, his body was lifted from the ground. He was held by something. A tall creature stood behind us on the grass. Its body was stark white. Its limbs were black like ink. Its jaw hung agape, filled with small rows of serrated razors. It made no noise. Kian began to struggle as the creature pressed its hands tighter around his neck and face. Screaming, Kian flayed his legs and arms widely. His screams quickly became choked. There was a sharp sound, and Kian let out a gasp. My face was warm suddenly. His body fell to the grass softly. Frozen, I watched. Kian's eyes were gone, simply missing. One of his ears was gone as well, lying on the grass beside his head. His screams transformed into long, labored moans. Kian writhed around on the ground, blood oozing from his mouth, nose and eyes. I was unable to speak or call out. Rayash leapt to his feet. Standing, he had his blade tightly in one hand. Kian? Rayash asked quietly, the shock visibly washing over him like a cold fever. Kian! Suddenly he was shouting. I heard Tala's voice beside me, wrecked with panic. It moved so quietly. How did this happen? Tala leapt to his feet, his own spear now in hand. The creature tilted its head and began to advance, moving silently through the grass. It seemed to glide upon its slender limbs, clicking softly as the joints rotated. Rayash still stood between the creature and Tala and myself. His blade was outstretched, pointed ahead. Kian moaned softly on the ground. In the midst of it all, I sat and watched. My entire body shook and my stomach felt like ice water. What's happening? I tried to think about my training. What was my training again? When a person is injured, I'm supposed to... Tala! Rayash called out and I heard quick footsteps move away from me. Tala ran right, his spear in hand, trying to flank the creature. It slowly turned its head, watching Tala approach. At that moment, Reyash lunged forward. His blade glinted in the evening light as it made an arc from head to toe. There was a sound of metal upon metal, and the creature recoiled as the blade connected with its head. Tala drew closer, but it reacted swiftly. One of its long arms shot out at Reyash. It was a sickening sound. Instantly, Reyash's arm was gone from the elbow up. Blood pooled from the wound, dripping from the hanging tendon and splintered bone. He collapsed, screaming. There was a dull thud. The arm landed by my feet. I'm supposed to treat the wound. I tried to come to my feet, but stumbled and fell. I can't look. There was the sound of metal striking metal once more. I heard another scream and the sounds of struggle. I tore my head upward to see Tala's spear, stuck partially in the creature's narrow torso, fall to the ground. Tala was now held, its slender arms wrapped around his body. He struggled. The creature made as if to lift Tala off the ground, but suddenly it seemed to freeze. It tilted its head and made a low clicking noise. Suddenly the creature began to shake erratically. Its limbs vibrated and its head rotated to an unnatural angle. But then its claws contracted. Digging into Tala's back, he cried out in pain. The creature still held him firmly, but it was dragging him towards the doorway, the great stone mouth of the well. I could barely lift my head to watch. I didn't want to look. Tala's face was pale, and his limbs hung loosely to his sides. The grass was streaked red as the tall creature pulled him further and further toward the doorway. He gave me a look then. Arem, he said softly. And then they were gone. Yeesh. What a first day. I was lying there, still, in that spot where I had sat by the fire. I hadn't moved an inch. I don't recall how much time had passed. But I stood. Yeah, you really can't tell what actually being flooded with adrenaline will do to you in a real emergency, even with your training and all that. Reyash? Are you? Reyash? Reyash? Yeah, he's dead. Please say something. It's just you, my guy. Kian? 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 Will you say something? I am also pretty sure that this is Arem's first time ever seeing death. That's gonna be extra traumatizing. I stumbled across the grass. My sandals felt wet. I looked down and saw that my toes were red. Still, it hung open. The doorway to the well. That's where Tala is. He was taken. Maybe Tala is still alive. Maybe, if I go after him, I can save him. But it's the well. The well. I know what I've been taught. I know what they told me. If I go into the well, I'll die. Nobody will rescue me. I'll die and... My head felt hot and my stomach felt light. I bent at the waist and was quietly sick. If I do this, am I going to die? I won't see my family again. Anybody. So why shouldn't I just run away? I stood and looked at the doorway. I noticed then it was a staircase. A staircase. And it went down. Down into the ground. I stepped forward. If I do this, I'll be throwing it away. My life, everything I've worked for. What am I about to do? I was at the edge of the door. If I don't do this, I won't be able to live with myself. If I don't do this, I've been lying to myself. Preyash and Kian, they're dead, and I did nothing. Otherwise, what have I been doing for 12 years? What am I about to do? I'll walk away right now. Nobody will know what happened besides me. I'll walk away right now. How will I show my face to Sachito ever again? I'll walk away right now. I'll walk away. What am I about to? I'm about to. My legs felt like they were moving on their own. I'm going to try, Tala. I'm going to try and save your life. And in the process, I'm going to die. So, the choice has been made. I find it really interesting that Arem doesn't really have a morality, not in the fully formed sense. He's never had the time in his life to actually put stuff into words, and even though his base response is always just trying to ignore anything that causes discomfort, deep down he is a very righteous person. The staircase ended. I came to a large room. The ceiling was low. It was dark. The space was odd. Empty and wide. Yet it felt small. There was a faint light ahead of me. I saw a red trail. It's this way. I entered the west space. West. The largest room I had ever seen. To both of my sides was a great drop, the bottom of which was so far away that I couldn't see it. My breathing grew rapid, and I felt my hands begin to shake, even more so than they already were. The space so vast and unfamiliar. This will be the place where I die. It's ahead of me. The creature stood motionless ahead. We were upon a great bridge. And there was Tala. He was lying face down, unmoving. The creature faced away from me. It seemed to perch over Tala's body. I stood and watched. My hands are shaking. I felt for my weapon. Father's words went through my head. I have to destroy it. Is Tala still alive? I took a step forward, and suddenly the creature turned to face me. No, this is an ancestor. It began to click softly. I realized then that its sleek white face bore a deep scar. Its torso was similarly marred by Tala's spear. So that's why it didn't already kill me. They damaged it. It may be enough. Enough that I may live through this. I raised my weapon, an apprentice's sword. And suddenly I was running forward. I stood, breathing heavily. My weapon felt heavy in my hands. Is it dead? There was a sound then, low and repetitive. It's my heart. No, it's... On unsteady feet I stumbled forward to where Tala lay. I tried to say something, to speak his name. I tried, and nothing came. I bent to reach for him and fell to my knees. I placed both hands, now free, on his back. The sound returned, and it rang in my ears. It grew louder. I tried to drag Tala, inch by inch. I tried to drag him back towards the stairs. He was heavy and cold. Tala is dead already, isn't he? The sound grew deafening in my ears. I stopped and let my hands fall to my sides. And I looked up. I looked up and for the first time truly considered the place I currently was. This is the well. Like a satiated hunger, the noise suddenly went away and left me in ringing silence. All that remained was the hollow quiet of the enormous space surrounding me. Like the sky above the settlement on a cloudless day, the ceiling stretched beyond sight. This place, it's below us. This place, greater than the settlement by 1,000-fold, merely from where I stood. This place from which the ancestors come. It's right below our feet. I felt my body begin to shake. I tried to reason with it. to understand what it all meant. How something like this was possible. How something so horrible sat beneath us. It can't be. Why is it here? What is its purpose? This is why I was chosen to become a sentry. To prevent anything in this place from crossing over into our peaceful island. I thought about it. I thought about my dreams of being a journeyman. I would be a temple guard, confidently protecting the settlement under the warm sunlight. I would be by Sachita's side when she needed me. But instead, I'm here. Those old dreams seem so childish now, faced with such monumental darkness. The overwhelming feeling grew, and I felt like lying down. However, out of the corner of my gaze, I noticed Tala's body stir. It was slight, perhaps a shallow breath. I really liked the touch that the music seemed to swell when Arem was overwhelmed with thoughts and emotion. Then the moment something knocked him out of it, the music stopped. It's a really nice, subtle touch. The motion was enough to tear my eyes from the vast space above me and regain my attention once more. What was I doing? I had something I was doing. Tala. He's still alive. Gripping him tightly once more, I pulled with all my strength. Slowly, I pulled him towards the long staircase. My memory of what happened next is fuzzy. Suddenly, I recall being in the courtyard at the settlement's edge. The last of the light still kept in the sky. I heard voices, a cry of shock, and quickly Father was there. I recall his arms around me. Then he was holding Tala. I recall being taken to the temple. I recall my mother's cries of fear. Her arms were around me too. Somebody tried to ask me something. Arem? Arem, can you hear me? I nodded. Yeah, guy's gonna be a little out of it. Both from shock and a tiny bit of cosmic horror. Some time later, I sat very still and looked down at my hands. My mother was there too. She had me close. Arem, she spoke very softly. Arem, love, you need to go to sleep. I tried to say something in response. Nothing came out. I shook my head. I felt her shift, moving her hands on top of my own. She flinched, pulling away for a short instant. My hands were still as cold as ice. They were as cold as the well. Why don't we say a prayer? Prayer for the two we lost. I nodded. That day, the last day of my long apprenticeship and the first of my days as a journeyman, I fell fitfully into dreamless sleep while my mother whispered a quiet prayer. A prayer for two now dead I had met only a short few hours ago. As my eyes grew heavy, the adrenaline finally subsided. I pictured the vast, quiet, empty darkness that lay beneath our feet. Of all the images now seared into my eyes and my memory of the previous day, Kion's body, crumpled on the grass, stained a dark crimson red. Rayash face down, lying next to the remains of his own arm. one that I saw as I drifted towards unconsciousness was the overwhelming vastness of the space. It was in my head, and it wouldn't go away. As if the well itself was calling to me. It began as a feeling of heat. Dry, smothering heat. This wasn't where I was supposed to be. It looked like my old classroom, but I knew it wasn't. Pale orange light streamed in. It felt hot on my skin. My throat was dry. I tried to stand, but a voice froze me in place. You're not going to run away, are you, Arem? Run away? But I didn't run away. I went after Tala. I went into the well. That's not what I mean. Now that you've seen that place, do you intend to hide from it? Surely you won't be afraid to see it again. Again? Why would I? You did so well yesterday. You were so brave, Arem. I was? Oh yes. And of course, who could forget a sight like the one you saw? Yes. I can see it clear as day. I can't keep my thoughts away from how it looked. Of course you can't, Arem. I know you're curious. I know that you want to know more. Yes. So, I'll ask again. Are you going to run away? Oddly, I woke early the next morning. I wasn't tired or sore. I woke with a strange clarity of some kind. My head felt full last night. Full of sights and sounds. But it was empty now. And I began to think clearly. I'm in the temple. They brought me here and not to the hospice. Yes, of course. The Yashan will want to know what happened. And I'm the only one left alive. No. Mom said 2 last night. Only 2 had died. So he survived then. Tala. Wait. The Yashan will want to know what happened. How it is that Tala was spared. And what my part in that was. Suddenly I felt fear flicker through my body. I had forgotten. I broke a cardinal rule. I went into the well after Tala. I went into the one place we are forbidden to go. They warned me not to. What will they do if they find out? What if Tala already told them? I need to find him and make sure. It's early and I don't hear anybody outside. I should be able to sneak out of this room and look around. He must be somewhere close by. Huh, quite the heavy episode that we had. Arem had his first real character establishing moment, and in return for his heroics, he got some knowledge I don't think anyone was meant to have, and thoughts that might not even be completely his own. We don't know yet whether this is a made in abyss situation or something else completely. But still, one thing we cannot deny is that Arem's life is going to be infinitely more interesting from this point on. But that is it from me today. Thank you for watching. If you like this game, which I still hope you do, then go to the Steam page and play it yourself if you haven't already. It is free, as you remember. If you like this video, please give it a like, really helps me out. Look around the channel, maybe you will find something else that might interest you. And until the next time, take care of yourselves, and have as good a day as you can make it. Goodbye.